You know, every leader, every single person trying to build something great runs into the same wall, right? It's this fundamental question. Where on earth do you begin? Do you start by hunting down the absolute best person? You know, the A player, that superstar seed? Or do you first get your hands dirty and meticulously prepare the environment, the soil, so they have a place to grow? Well, today we're going to dive deep into one of the biggest tensions in all of strategy, talent versus task. So, for the last 20 years or so, the business world has been absolutely dominated by one single, really powerful metaphor: the bus. This idea, made famous by Jim Collins in his classic book Good to Great, has pretty much shaped how thousands of companies think about hiring and building their teams. And honestly, the logic is simple, it's compelling, and it's become the go-to answer for that question we just asked. And there it is, the first who principle. This is the accepted wisdom. The playbook says that great leaders start by focusing on people first and strategy second. You find people with the right stuff, the right character, get them on your team, and then you figure out where you're going to drive the bus. It's an idea that just feels right, you know? It puts talent and character on a pedestal. And this is our starting point. This is the thesis. But what if that's not the whole story? What if, for over 2,000 years, another, just as powerful logic has been sitting there, waiting in the wings? What if asking who first is actually the second step in a much, much deeper strategic game? This is where we're going to pump the brakes and challenge that conventional wisdom. Okay, so let's jump in a time machine and go way back to the 4th century BCE. This is Kautilya, the master strategist. Now, in his legendary work, the Arthashastra, he gives us a completely different starting point. And I want you to notice his focus here. Kautilya isn't talking about the character of the person, right? He's not talking about the seed. He's focused on the land and the specific type of labor you need for the sowing. So his first question isn't who, it's what is the task and what kind of motivation do I need to get it done? And this is where his thinking gets really, really brilliant. See, Kautilya breaks down the workforce into 3 types, and it's all based on their core motivation. First, you've got the serf, the dasa, who's driven by obligation, by control. Then you have the laborer, the karmakara, who is purely transactional. It's about getting paid for a job. And finally, you have the debtor, the danda pratikatur, motivated by the need to fix a mistake or pay a penalty. Now, the genius here isn't about judging any of these roles as good or bad. It's about the incredible precision of matching the right motivation to the right task. So this is the absolute heart of the matter. You have this fundamental split in how to think about strategy. On one side, Kautilya is obsessed with the mechanics of the work itself, the execution. His priority is the soil and the sowing. And on the other side, you've got Collins, who is obsessed with the inner drive of the person, their character. His priority is the passenger. It's the ultimate conflict. Do you design the job first, or do you find the person first? So, who's right, the ancient master of execution or the modern master of character? Well, what if I told you the answer isn't to pick a side? The answer is Aikya, a Sanskrit word that means synthesis, oneness, unity. The real path forward, the truly strategic path, is to merge these 2 powerful ways of thinking into one single, much more effective strategy. It's not Kautilya versus Collins, it's Kautilya and Collins. And this is what that synthesis looks like in action. The seat, the role, the environment, the soil, that has to be defined first using Kautilya's logic. You have to understand what the task demands. Is it a high-control, obligation-based job, or is it something totally different? It's only after you've defined that seat that you go find the passenger using Collins's logic, matching their character to what the seat requires. Now here's the critical insight, and it's so simple but so profound. You cannot put an A player, a first-two person, in a seat designed for a debtor, a role built around fixing things and low freedom, and expect them to work magic. It'll never happen. You have to prepare the soil before you plant that priceless seed. Okay, so let's make this real. It's time for the Talent Map Challenge, and I really want you to do this for your team or even just for yourself. Step 1, write down 3 absolutely critical tasks that have to get done. Step 2, identify who is actually doing them right now. And now for step 3, the most important part, be brutally honest and label the core motivation that task requires. Is it fundamentally about obligation, like the serf? Is it purely transactional, like the laborer? Or does it demand the deep, passionate ownership of a true partner, a first who kind of person? And doing that exercise leads us to a huge, flashing warning sign. When you do that audit, if you discover you have a partner, someone with the drive and character of an owner, stuck doing surf work, a repetitive, high control, low autonomy task, you have a strategic disaster on your hands. You are literally wasting your most valuable resource. You're planting a championship seed in a tiny little pot with terrible soil, and there's only one answer: reallocate and do it fast. And look, this idea applies to everybody. For a CEO, it means you need to audit your entire bus, every seat. Stop putting transactional people in transformational roles and then wondering why it's not working. For a manager, your main job becomes diagnosing motivation. Is this person on your team here for a paycheck, or are they here to help build a cathedral? You manage them accordingly. And for a student or a homemaker, listen, you're the CEO of your own life. Don't waste your high noon energy, your absolute peak creative time on boring, obligatory tasks. You have to protect your best soil for your best seeds. So we'll leave you with this thought. The modern world has made us experts at finding A players, right? We're great at spotting the right seed. But the ancient wisdom of Kautilya forces us to ask a much harder, more fundamental question. See, it's not enough to get the right people on the bus. The real question is, have you built a bus that's even worth getting on? Have you prepared the soil so they can actually grow? Fusing that ancient strategy with modern leadership, well, that's what we're all about here. Unchaining wisdom to give you a sharper edge. Thanks for diving in with us.